Have you ever been to a huge and extravagant city that is completely empty? No people, no signs of life, nothing. Well, you're in for a treat because today we'll be going on a trip to a mysterious megacity. Empty highways, soulless boulevards, and quiet pathways are just some of the things that we'll encounter in Nai Piadao, Myanmar's ghost city. Stay strapped to your seats as we arrived in Myanmar, a Southeast Asian country located in the region commonly referred to as mainland Southeast Asia. Formerly known as Burma, Myanmar is an economically diverse country filled with agriculture, manufacturing, services, and natural resources playing significant roles. Myanmar's cultural heritage is characterized by its diverse groups and ethnicities. Now, let's prepare to enter the ghost city. The wind echoes throughout the streets of Nai Piadao with no people in sight. But how could an extremely big city end up like this? Nai Piadao is the capital city of Myanmar. It was designated as the capital city in 2005, replacing Yangon, formerly Rangoon, as the administrative center of the country. The decision to move the capital was made by the ruling military junta, known as the State Peace and Development Council or SPDC, citing reasons such as overcrowding and vulnerability to foreign attack in Yangon. The construction of Nai Piadao began in secret in the early 2000s, and the city was officially unveiled as the new capital in November 2005. The move was met with controversy and criticism, with many questioning the rationale behind the decision and the massive expenditures involved in building a new capital from scratch. Well, with a project as big as that being constructed under the citizens' noses, it's bound to cause a lot of commotion. Nai Piadao is situated in the Nai Piadao Union Territory, approximately 320 kilometers or 200 miles north of Yangon, the former capital. The city is located in a relatively remote and sparsely populated area, surrounded by hills and forests. We'll bet that even if it was populated to a more regular level, it would still feel like some sort of province due to the extent of nature around it. The strategic location of Nai Piadao in the central region of Myanmar was chosen for its perceived security and accessibility, as well as its potential for future development and expansion. The city is characterized by wide boulevards, spacious government complexes, and vast green spaces, giving it a planned and orderly appearance. The city's urban layout was meticulously designed, with government ministries, administrative offices, and residential areas carefully organized into sectors. There are a handful of clips showing these roads and buildings, and you can see just how empty they are. The city boasts modern infrastructure, including government buildings, hotels, convention centers, shopping malls, and residential complexes. Key landmarks including the Parliament Building, the Presidential Palace, and the Gem Museum. Nai Piadao serves as Myanmar's political and administrative hub, housing the country's government institutions, ministries, and administrative offices. Just as we said earlier, the city is home to the parliament, where the country's legislative bodies convene, as well as the offices of the president and other key government officials. The move of the capital to Nai Piadao was seen as a way for the military government to consolidate its power and maintain tighter control over the country's governance and administration. Looking at the state of the city now, maybe it was a bad move after all. It's a bit contradictory, isn't it? Despite its status as the capital, Nai Piadao is not as densely populated or bustling as Yangon. The city's population primarily consists of government officials, civil servants, and military personnel, with relatively few private businesses and commercial activities. Nai Piadao's economy is largely driven by government spending and public sector employment. The city has seen some investment in tourism infrastructure, with the development of hotels and recreational facilities to attract visitors. This is also a testament to how much money is circulating in the city with only a few citizens. And if you look at Nai Piadao as a whole, the overall vibe just seems bizarre. Empty luxury hotels and silent malls filled with non-existent shopping developers. It's like some sort of post-apocalyptic haven that is secretly inhabited by strange people. Aside from the reasons stated previously on why the city was built, rumors swirl about underground tunnels and secret facilities hidden beneath the surface, fueling speculation about the city's true purpose, with Nai Pia Dao's most notable occupants being the military and government officials who reside in the city's fortified compounds. It's not surprising why people would think that. The urban planning for Nai Pia Dao is not only very extravagant, but just as we said earlier, it's also a bit weird. There are wide highways and oversized roundabouts that dominate the landscape, creating a surreal maze-like environment that defies logic. From color-coded residential zones to sprawling government complexes, Nai Pia Dao's planning seems haphazard and disjointed, leaving many to question the city's true intentions. With Nai Pia Dao having various military installations and fortified compounds, many still believe that it was a strategic move by the military dictatorship to consolidate power and defend against potential threats. By relocating the capital inland and fortifying its defenses, the regime sought to insulate itself from dissent and external attacks. Nai Pia Dao has faced criticism for its high construction costs, lack of transparency in government decision-making, and perceived disconnect from the realities of ordinary Myanmar citizens. The decision to move the capital has been viewed by some as a symbol of the military government's authoritarian rule and its prioritization of political control over the welfare of the people. Additionally, the remoteness of Nai Pia Dao and its limited transportation links have posed challenges to accessibility and connectivity, making it less accessible to ordinary citizens and hindering economic development. Just to put it more clearly, Nai Pia Dao's lack of population is due to three reasons: cost of living, military-focused structures, and the poor quality of life. The city looks nice, but it is very expensive to live in. Having military professionals and bureaucrats as your neighbors would be enough reason for it to be as expensive as it is. Most people would rather live in more affordable cities like Yangon. The same goes for businesses too, considering how little the economic opportunities are. Imagine being a medium-sized business that sets up shop in the silent streets of Nai Pia Dao. Tough time, huh? With many buildings and infrastructures focused on military and political purposes, there weren't many spaces that were dedicated to housing the general population. The place just went to business. But to be fair, there still are some places where people would visit during specific times. The downtown area is usually filled with huge crowds of people when the weekend arrives. Shopping malls and restaurants are buzzing with people trying to shop and eat. You can also see some civil servants and government employees trying to unwind here too. And lastly, the overall quality of life in Nai Pia Dao is terrible. The isolated location makes it more difficult to network with other locations. The lack of adequate public transportation is also another factor. I mean, with a population as little as they currently have, you probably wouldn't see a lot of taxis or buses pulling up. And with how small the population is, you wouldn't see a lot of job prospects around these parts. Nai Pia Dao has so much potential to be a really prosperous city. But in its current state, it still seems to be impossible to reach its fullest potential. As we reflect on the mysteries of Nai Pia Dao, one question lingers. What does the future hold for this enigmatic city? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This is MadeinLuxe signing off.